Chief Minister of Telangana, K. Chandrasekhar Rao, termed NITI Ayog a toothless body. Before the meeting, KCR wrote to Prime Minister Modi saying that his decision of giving the meeting a miss is a mark of protest against what he terms as the centre's blatant discrimination against several states, including, of course, Telangana. So what is it that makes KCR so angry? I mean, Stalin has also, of course, in the past spoken about his reservations, the relationship between the centre and the states, about cooperative federalism. But KCR has been going hammer and tongs. Meanwhile, the centre has made a clarification that all that KCR Garu says may not be true. To speak more on the issue, Khaleequr Rahman, senior leader of the TRS, is joining us. Mr. Rahman, good evening to you. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening to you and to all your viewers.
Thank you. So you see, the thing is, very strong words have been used by KCR Garu, and this is not the first time. I mean, several times over as well. Now, to call it toothless, you know, after all, we know that, you know, after the Planning Commission, it metamorphosed into the NITI Ayog, and to call it just toothless, can you just tell me what is your party's stand and why does it call the NITI Ayog toothless?
The objective of NITI Ayog, with which it came into existence, is to foster the strong relationship and the development between the states and this, central government, and the involvement of the states in the decision making and the planning, and which could, lead to the stronger India, because the stronger states will always make a stronger nation. So that was the main objective of the NITI Ayog. And that is why the Planning Commission was scrapped. But unfortunately, what we have noticed and what we have seen, and even we have been talking about it, on many occasions, how, the center government has been discriminating against a few states in the country. And Telangana, in fact, I think tops the chart in that. Because the participation by the states, especially, at the planning level, is hardly meager.
Sir, see, let me just, see, there could be a lot of differences between the center and the state.
Yes,
and it has to do with politics, with policies also. But the center, for instance, they said that for the 7th of August meeting, there was enough preparation, there was enough discussion with all the states. Detailed discussions were held between the center and the states. And then there was the first National Chief Secretary Conference in Dharamshala in the month of June. So it is not as if that Telangana did not know what was going on, what is going to be discussed. So, it just seems that unless you have, I'm not talking about paddy procurement. Yes, we can say paddy procurement, there was a lot of confusion. I'm only talking about, I'm not even talking about politics, who said what, Bandi Sanjay said this. I'm talking about, after all, he's the Prime Minister of this country, NITI Ayog is a central agency. I just don't understand, when Chief Secretary's meeting was called in preparation for 7th August, what is the objection that Telangana has?
See, let me give you two examples why, our Honorable Chief Minister termed the NITI Ayog as a toothless body. Number one is because the central government itself is not really serious, on the recommendations of the NITI Ayog. If you remember correctly, in the year 2016, the NITI Ayog has recommended a grant of rupees 5,000 for the Mission Kakatiya. Then again for Mission Bhagirata, whose project outlay was about 42,000 crores. The NITI Ayog, has recommended to provide about 19,025 crores to the state government. But not even a single rupee was released by the government of India.
Right.
And it was the state government which on its own.
The center. So on the other, now look at the other side.
When the state government, in fact, has been consistently writing to the central government, especially with regard to the the requirement of the funds, the assistance and all these things, which are falling on the deaf ears, and even the recommendation of the NITI Ayog was also
now the center also allocated just a minute under the Jal Jeevan. Sir, Mr. Rahman, I don't shout. I can't shout.
Sorry.
If you shout, I can't carry on, sir. I will speak very politely with you, Mr. Rahman.
Yeah.
You spoke about how
I'm also speaking very politely, ma'am. I know whenever you are there on the debate, I always make sure that I keep my voice low. As it is, I'm a very soft-spoken person.
Thank you so much.
Please go ahead.
I really like that, Mr. Rahman, and I'm grateful that you do that with anchors. Thank you very much. Now, on the other hand, the center can also say that we allocated, 3,982 crores to Telangana under the Jal Jeevan mission. But so far, you have only used 200 crores. Why? If you say mission kakati, this is what happened. On the other hand, why is it that when they allocated almost 4,000 crores to you, you only decided to use 200 crores? So somewhere there seems to be a problem, right?
No, see, I'll tell you, what did the central government did? The central government has taken the credit of these two projects and they have added these projects and under the Jal Jeevan mission, which is a central government scheme, and they are saying that because these projects, have been funded and successfully implemented because of the central funds. I mean, it is so wrong to say, and it is nothing but I consider that another jumla from the central government and the people in position there. So I think what is important now is, because the politics can be there. I mean, we are not talking, any politics here, because whenever the elections are there once in 5 years, every political party go and contest the election. They play the politics. But the rest, after the elections, the 5 years period, this is the time to talk about the developmental issue. This is the time to have a proper cooperation between the center and the state. And this is the period which gives both the state and the center the time to implement all those promises which have been made during the election for the people of the country, for the people of the state.
I get your point.
But unfortunately, what is happening is, because, the central government, is totally ignoring that. And they never talk about these at the developmental schemes, what they have, talk about. Rather,
Mr. Rahman, Mr. Rahman,
80-20, and by talking about
Mr. Rahman, there seems to be a big communication gap. There is not just only communication gap. There is also lack of protocol, I see. Mr. Narendra Modi happens to be the Prime Minister of this country.
Yes,
ideologically, I may have differences with him. You may have differences. But there is some respect that you have to accord to the Prime Minister of this country. Every time he has visited Hyderabad to inaugurate infrastructure projects, KCR Garu has very, very conveniently disappeared from Hyderabad. Last time he went to meet the elderly Mr. Gowda, who's ex-Prime Minister of this country, he was in Bengaluru. Now, Mr. Stalin also has differences with the Prime Minister. He has said it on stage while Mr. Modi has been there that, he has problem with the governor, Mr. R.N. Ravi as well. But when Mr. Modi comes to Tamil Nadu to inaugurate infrastructural projects, Mr. Stalin gives him that respect. I think somewhere the center-state relation also revolves around the mutual respect you give to each other, sir. It is not only about politics, it's about policies, and it's about the people of Telangana who also have to, look at this Jal Jeevan mission, for instance, or look at the free rice that you had to give almost every month. You've had a slugfest with the Food Corporation of India as well. So let's leave it at this. I hope that somewhere you can resolve it with the Prime Minister, and at least when it comes to situations like this, not have egos, where ultimately it is the welfare of the people of Telangana which is foremost for you as well as for, I'm sure, Mr. Narendra Modi. Thank you so much, Mr. Rahman, for joining us on the broadcast.